Hey guys, so Keon here, and welcome to a special live 2D version of Nerdy Stuff with Keon. Quick shout out and thank you to Dear Hair who made this model, art plus rigging. So I will have a link to their Twitter profile in the description.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
So, with that being said, let's get on to this. So, for testing with megaman-legends 2, I've been doing some testing on the PC version of megaman-legends 2, but that comes with some limitations. So, with this video, I wanted to look at what are the different options of megaman-legends 2, and what are their either advantages or drawbacks of using each format for uh, modding purposes. So, PC MML2, the constraints are you need to have the same size or smaller because you're replacing files, and then you just want to replace the exact same file with what's there. In terms of extra steps, there's the English patch, which needs to be done, and then that's still going to have Japanese voices, I think. There's PSX, kind of similar with PSX. There's a lot more restriction on using the same size files. You also have compression to deal with, and then you have to edit the ISO, which is kind of annoying. There's kind of an interesting approach that I wanted to test, which is a PlayStation emulator, but specifically using DuckStation and save states. So what this does is we can patch the save state, and then maybe we can cheat to persist. And this could allow us to have an arbitrary or larger files because I'm kind of worried that the size constraints of any given file are pretty small, and this would kind of give some extra room. So that's one option that I'm looking into, but also cheats persist, making it kind of more challenging. And then last, the PSP. The nice part about this is it gives you 32 megabits of RAM and 2 megabits of VRAM, but English patch, and then also ISO edits. So PSP just not worth it right now. Um, I started with PC as a proof of concept, but just kind of looking into PSX and specifically DuckStation, because the debug version of PlayStation gives you 8 megabytes of memory to play around with. And I think that could help, but we'll see. So if you go to DuckStation, you go to General, you can turn off compressed save states, and that helps because it just makes it easier to find the 2 megabytes of main memory and 1 megabyte of frame buffer without having to decompress or do anything else. So it's just nice to be able to read it as is. And then if you go to console, you can enable the 8 megabytes of dev RAM for a dev console. So what I kind of think this would help is normally the PSX only has 2 megabytes of RAM, so it's really not a lot. And then inside that 2 megabits of RAM, maybe 1/20th of it is used for Megaman's model. And so the idea is I could put extra information. I mean, that would give me 6 megabytes. That would give me 3 times the amount of information than in the normal RAM to put in information. So I wouldn't have to worry about making like super tiny models. We could patch Mega Man's model and just have pointers to outside of the normal dev, outside of the normal area of code. And I think, I don't know, it kind of depends on the way um, the devs wrote it. It looks like they made everything load into a very specific point in memory. Um, so I don't think I'd have to worry about this information getting overwritten by anything, but I am by no means an expert on that, and I could be totally wrong. So the steps to confirm this would be DuckStation, enable 8 megabits of RAM, play a little bit, make a save state, uh, split out the memory from the save state, and then see if I could write to the information beyond 2 megabytes and see if I could do that without the game crashing or anything. Okay, and yeah, so in terms of speeding ahead and actually doing that, this kind of worked for a little while. So what I did was I used the existing role NPC data to um, uh, use as not have to worry about writing the file format just to see if this approach would work. So inside um, the game code is at the beginning of memory. We're updating the player model, and instead of updating inside the player model, what we're just doing is we're just copying roles data to the end of after 2 MB and then reading to it. What kind of happened though is this worked until it didn't. So it worked, and I could replace the legs and the body and the left arm for the buster, but as soon as I tried to replace the right arm for the pointer, um, everything just kind of started going to hell. Um, just completely crazy. As soon as I replaced the right arm, like the frame buffer would show up on screen, I'd get all these artifacts, the colors would go completely wrong. Everything just kind of went to hell with this approach of trying to edit the save states and trying to use other characters like Tron or Gats or anything like that. Just didn't seem to work. So, in terms of returning back to the approach of what the original slide was at the beginning was to figure out options for modding. So I thought that the 8 MB of dev save state would give me more flexibility to work with. It doesn't because the save state approach just doesn't work. Um, Not that it doesn't work, but it just adds more complications of variables that you're trying to accommodate, trying to account for. And it's not fun when saying like, "Oh, is it the save states that's broken?" If I'm writing something that's broken, you just add more variables in terms of things that can go wrong, and when more things can go wrong, more things do go wrong. So this is a complete side note, fever dream of thinking of what a tool for this would look like if we have different parts of the body on the left, preview and then showing the textures on the side. But that's neither here nor there right now. That's just kind of a fever dream of GUI dancing in my brain. And then so uh, I was kind of going crazy trying to get information loaded into Mega Man, but Surfbot42 posted this with Glide being loaded in, and massive shout out to Xbuster for logging and um, managing all these cheats, and credit for Tredge on Discord who sent this to me. The game, let's skip ahead here. So what the game does is each one of the different types of feet that Mega Man can equip is actually a different model file. So the game includes a copy of the head, a copy of the body, a copy of the feet, a copy of the buster. So like 80% of the Mega Man model is copied into all these different files, and then it just has different differences depending on which feet is equipped or which helmet or with or without helmet. And so what I think what's going on is the game has some kind of enum to say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the game also has NPC data like roll, Tron, glide that's included in the game, but it's not normally available during gameplay. What I think what the cheat is doing is it's changing the enum on which current model is loaded, and the game says, "Oh, you're loaded in as roll." Well, we wrote that in development. We patched it out of the game, but the function's still there. So we're going to load in the model for roll or Tron, and that will load in the character. But the problem is it's not necessarily flawless. I don't think it works in the first mission. I don't think it um, I don't think you can equip special weapons. And then you also have other weirdness where you have to activate the cheat, load a different stage, come back, load a different stage again, and then your model with the texture is loaded. So it's cool to be able to play different um, models like this, but you're limited with which texture, which models are available, and also kind of what you can do with the devs half-ass implementation for it. So very cool, and we're actually going to use this as testing. So what I did for testing was use roll, the cheat to load in roll, and then I can replace roll, and I can use that as a way to test the texture and the model. And then we can apply that to Mega Man. So the ultimate goal is to be able to just mod the ROM and play as a custom character from for Mega Man from start to finish of the game with everything working. And so what I think what's happening when it's loading in a different NPC mesh is the devs had to move information around in the memory in order to get everything to fit because the other NPC like Troll Ron are just Troll Roll and Tron, can't speak, and Gats, and the other characters just use a lot more memory. Well, actually, technically not Gats. Just use a lot more memory. So I think that they had to um, move things around and cut things out. And so technically everything is drawn, but it's not in the same format that Mega Man is. But again, I would have to dive deeper on this to be able to talk more definitively. This is just a guess. So in terms of save states, that kind of went out the door. But because I would get through partially modding a model, and then stuff would just start crapping out. So what I did was I went through all the different NPCs. I think this is Gats. But I went through all the NPCs to see which NPC would just fit inside Mega Man's footprint as is. And it turns out Mega Man and Apron and Gats are small enough to be able to use with Mega Man as is. And so what I did was I copied their model I edited their model in RAM so you could just load up the game. And then with that, I was able to just have the mesh work in game without any weirdness happening. So rather than editing the save state, it seems like editing the ROM is just a way that's more reliable. So in terms of this first step of just mesh replacement proof of concept, um, I would say it's kind of accomplished in the sense that we got a different mesh that's not Mega Man loaded into Mega Man's footprint as is intended in the game, and the game's not crashing. So baby steps, but gotta start somewhere. All right. So in terms of next steps, we want to just keep it simple and work towards things towards more complex. So the next thing that would be a huge uh, step in the right direction would be to make like a simple box and see if we can get the right UVs working to just be able to get a reference or something very simple to start with. And then other things beyond that are, can we get texture compression to work with PSX version? If we're going to be on Windows, or would it be helpful to work with PCSXR instead of DuckStation? And then the other thing that's a little further off is to write an OBJ to megaman-legends format encoder. But that's it for this dev update. I hope to bring you more updates soon. I've got a few more presentations queued up, so I'll try to bang out these videos, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.